I seriously can't think of a better way to f up my already f up sleep schedule than doing the 24-hour reading challenge. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, definitely not one of my brightest ideas I've had in a while, but I am extremely bored and I've been seeing this everywhere and I kind of wanted to try it just because I want to see if I can actually do it. But as you can see from the title of this video, we are doing the 24-hour reading challenge and I'm gonna vlog the entire thing. Also, if you can't tell, I got a haircut, went for a little shorter, little like razor cut, got some layers in there. I love it, it's fresh, it's new, it's calling upon this like new feeling inside of me that I just want to like try a bunch of new things, even if it makes me uncomfy at first. So that's primarily why I wanted to film this video, because I do not like the idea of reading for 24 hours. I'm actually a reader who can't really read for that long of a time, if that makes sense. So like when I'm reading a book, I can only read for like maybe an hour to 2 hours at a time at maximum, and that's pretty much my limit for the day. I can never really read for like straight for like an entire day or throughout the night, just because it kind of makes me like, it kind of gives me motion sickness without the like motion, but it's just like staring at something for so long and looking at it just makes me feel like nauseous. And in these past few days, I have gotten less than 5 hours of sleep per night just because of insomnia, also because of Netflix, but just a whole bunch of things that have contributed to my insomnia. And I feel like if I'm gonna have insomnia and not sleep, might as well be doing something productive with my time awake, aka reading books for a video. So yeah, if you guys don't know what the 24-hour reading challenge is, it is basically where you just read as much as you can in 24 hours and you can vlog your process. It can be some type of a goal thing. I am primarily doing this one because I want to try new things this year, well, throughout the end of the year. And another reason is I do want to get my Goodreads reading goal. I know numbers don't really matter to me, but this is like, you know, contributing to it. I am like 40 books behind in my Goodreads reading challenge, so I would like to read a few more books just because I like having a good number of books to talk about at the end of the year when I film my wrap-ups and reading goals and whatever. So this is kind of potentially going towards my Goodreads challenge, but today I am not too focused on how many books I read during this challenge, but the quality of the books, and to push myself past the limits of how much I can read during a day and without getting sick. Okay, so for this challenge, I have chosen 3 books. This is like really pushing it. I don't know if I can read 3 books in 24 hours, but we have 3 books here and I'm gonna go through them pretty quickly for my TBR because we have to start reading. So the first one is Monsters Born and Made by Tanvi Burwa. This one actually came out this year and in September, and I got a really early arc of this. I got it in the summertime and I just didn't read it. But this is supposed to be like a South Asian inspired fantasy debut with like monsters and magic. So I'm really excited about this. I've been wanting to read this one and I feel like it's a pretty fast read. I feel like YA fantasy reads pretty fast paced compared to like literary fiction. Like I'm not going to torture myself by reading like a lit fic in this video and making myself, you know, just read that much in 24 hours. I feel like YA fantasy I can like consume fast enough for me not to get like tired of it or for me not to get like emotionally like whiplash from it. So I feel like this will be good. The next few books I have here are a lot shorter. Of course, I want to read Ocean Vuong's Time is a Mother. I still can't believe I haven't read this book because I bought it when it released, but I'm super excited to read this one. It's gonna be a short one too since it's a poetry collection, and I've read Ocean Vuong's other pieces. What is that book? It's called? I always forget the name of the book, but I read Ocean Vuong's other piece, so I feel like this one is kind of like I'll be able to read it faster because I feel like their writing is like you have to like really get into it or like get used to it in order to read it fast. So I am going to be reading this. And then the last book that I'm reading is, I really do think I'll finish this one, and I think I'm actually going to start with this one first because I'm more excited for it. But I'm going to read For Aunties and a Wedding by Jobii Q Sutanto. This is the sequel. Is it the sequel for Dial A For Aunties? And if you have heard of that book, I actually read the book in one sitting and I like wasn't tired after it. So I feel like this is the perfect book for this challenge. Any book that you can read in one sitting reading, like whether it's rom-com or like something, is super good for this challenge, I feel like. And you kind of need, I feel like I have a good mix of genres in this pile to keep me entertained and keep me kind of going in this challenge, so that I don't like slow down and lose pace, but also don't just get bored of reading, because I have a feeling that I'm going to fail this challenge, but all the better for the sake of this video, because I just love trying new things and I'm excited for this. So it is currently 1:06 p.m. In the afternoon, so this video will go on till 1:06 tomorrow. It is 1:06 on Wednesday, September 28th, so the challenge will go on from about 1 p.m. on Wednesday, oh sorry, on Thursday, September 29th, and I work full-time, so I don't really know how this is gonna work. I feel like I'm just gonna be on call for the hours that I'm doing this challenge. I'll still be doing work, of course, but I will be reading like at lunch and break, just as much as I can. And I would say that I'm a pretty average speed reader. I feel like I don't read that fast, but I also don't read like super slow, so I feel like I have a good chance of finishing these books. All right, I'm super scared. I am very scared of my sleep schedule these next few days, but let us get into this. It is 3 p.m., finished book 1 out of 3, and this took me 2 hours. I read straight from 1 p.m. to, it's like 3:30 right now, so this took me about like 2.5 hours, but I just have to say, like, her books are so freaking fast-paced. Honestly, this one was not my favorite. It was a little bit more like chaotic than the first book. I mean, in the nature of this, like the story, it is supposed to be like kind of a chaotic story with a lot of things going on and kind of just like mass, like, I don't know, anxiety, because that's like the nature of the story. If you don't know, the first book, A For Aunties, is basically about this girl, and she has like this family of like event planners or wedding planners, like a catering service, and basically she ends up accidentally killing a man, and it like devolves into like her wedding and what happens there. Not her wedding, sorry, the wedding that like her family's planning. So it's super chaotic, super messy, and I really enjoyed the first one. I thought it was just the perfect amount of humor and chaos. This one was just a little too far-fetched. I don't know, it was just, it was really easy to read because again, it's super fast-paced, super funny and lighthearted, but I think that I definitely preferred the first one over this one. So I'm very surprised that I'm not like tired of reading. I think it'll be nice to switch up to a poetry book, which is Time Is a Mother. I'm gonna start reading that. But that's also a tip if you are thinking of doing this reading challenge, is to change up your like what types of books you're reading, because I think it really helps in terms of like not losing like your speed or your attention, because I know that reading like novel after the other, like usually I take a little bit of time between each book. I take like a day or a few days before I jump into a new book, but this is definitely something new for me, so I'm excited to kind of switch it up with going into poetry, because I feel like poetry is definitely a lot, it's just a different reading experience than when I read novels. With poetry, I do like to annotate and stuff, because I think poetry is, it's very much like reading it and then like processing or interpreting, whereas novels is kind of like you're processing as you're reading. So I don't know if that makes sense, but anyway, I'm excited to jump into this next Ocean Vuong book, and I'll keep you updated. I'm planning on finishing that today as well, but if not, I hope to like start multiple books at the same time. I am very excited for how this is going, and very actually impressed with myself that I was able to just like finish this in one sitting. But if you're doing this challenge too, Jessie's books are super good. So I'm opening my copy of Time Is a Mother, but I see post-its in it. It's a little weird. And I see underlines. I don't remember starting this book actually. Well, that's a little weird, but I think I'm just gonna reread from the beginning. I'm pretty sure these post-its are mine. They look like my handwriting, and like these are the types of like plastic post-its that I use, but I don't remember, I swear, I don't remember starting this book. Or maybe I did. I don't know, I'm like reading some of it and it's like not hitting me. So maybe I did start it, but I'm just gonna restart it. But I also wanted to share that my copy is signed, which is so freaking cool because I love having signed copies. And I don't remember where I got this. I think I got it from an independent bookstore and they had signed copies of it. But I'm really excited to jump into this. I'm like very much craving poetry right now, or something just like different, and something a lot slower and like just hits differently. But yeah, I just thought it was funny how I opened this up and it's like already annotated. I mean, granted, the whole thing is not annotated, I think just first 50 pages, but like I was like, who touched my book? Who read my book? Okay, I moved to another section of my living room because I've just been rotting away on my couch the entire day. I finished a second book. It's 6:30 right now. I actually did go out. I went grocery shopping a little bit, got some groceries, stocked up, you know, took a little trip outside because I just can't function when I'm like inside all day. But I just finished Time is a Mother by Ocean Vuong. So freaking good. I just forget how much I love reading like Ocean's writing. And I actually, after this, I listened to an NPR interview with Ocean, and I sort of, it's really weird, I don't know how to describe it, but it's one of those cases where I feel like Ocean speaks the way he writes. Like, I don't know, the way that they say things, like even in the interview, like it was just so beautiful. Like literally everything that they said was like beautiful, and it was so wise and so just so wonderful. Like I don't know how you can be that like amazing and intelligent and such a genius. But so I finished Time as a Mother. I'm just gonna tell you some of my favorite poems in this book. No spoilers or anything. I think if you definitely don't want to hear some quotes that I'm gonna share, maybe skip this part. But okay, my favorite poems were You Guys, Dear Sarah, Not Even, Amazon History of a Former Nail Salon Worker. That one was just like so good. I love that one. And then No One Knows the Way to Heaven and Dear Rose, which is the second to last poem. Yeah, I think my favorite is, oh, I forgot, Old Glory is another one that I really loved. I really did love Old Glory, but I think my favorite one has to be either Amazon History of a Former Nail Salon Worker or No One Knows the Way to Heaven. I have some lines highlighted here that I do really want to share because they are just so beautiful. And if you've never read an Ocean Vuong book, I think this is a really great introduction to their writing. So I'm just going to share some pieces. So in a poem called Snow Theory, they write, how else do we return to ourselves but to fold the page so it points to the good part? And that's just like dog-earing pages. Ocean approves. Okay, I'll just share one more because I don't want this to be a clip of me just reading the entire book to you. But in a poem called Not Even, this is one of my favorites, they write, because everyone knows yellow pain pressed into American letters turns to gold. Our sorrow Midas touched, napalm with a rainbow afterglow. Like, isn't that just the most, I mean, it's kind of sad. I mean, Ocean Vuong's books are definitely very sad. And I really did like the NPR interview. I'll link that one in the description down below because I think it's really insightful. And I think one thing that I was very interested in was kind of the differences between this title and shoot, what is it called? On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. I did read the poem Night Sky with Exit Wounds for a class, but I don't really remember it. But I do really vividly remember On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, and I love that book. And I just like hearing the difference in writing and how much they've grown as a writer. And especially in this book, I read in the interview that this book was definitely more focused on Ocean and through their self-development, or like self-realizations, and it was very much about the self rather than about their mother, which the first one is very much like a letter to their mother that she will never read. So this book, so good. Okay, so I decided that I don't want to read that South Asian fantasy book anymore. I don't know, I'm just like not in the mood for fantasy, but I did a little perusal of my bookshelves, and for some reason I am craving this book so bad. I know, this is honestly so bad. This is turning into like mood reading bitch reads whatever the fuck she wants. But I am going to read Vampire Academy by Richelle Mead. I have never read Vampire Academy, even though I watched the movie. I actually like hate watch the movie. It's like kind of bad, but like kind of good. But anyway, I have never read the Vampire Academy series, and I don't know who, one of my Instagram close friends actually just started reading Vampire Academy again, and I feel like I'm gonna blame it. I'm gonna blame it on her for influencing me, because I saw her read this and I was like, shoot, I have to read it too. Or I'm like, somehow like I'm really craving it. Like I just want like a really old YA, like fast pace. I feel like these books are sort of perfect for this reading challenge, especially with old YA books, like 2000s YA books, because they're so fast to read. They're kind of just like paced so fast, and like the reading is kind of like meh for you to be like speed reading, or sometimes even just like skimming through the book. So I'm gonna read Vampire Academy, and then we'll see after this how I feel about reading another book. But I think I'm on my way to read more than 3 books, which is kind of crazy, because that means I will have read more than 3 books in a single day, and like that's more than I read sometimes in a month. So just, I'm really happy about this, and I'm loving this video. But now I'm going to read Vampire Academy and enjoy every second of it, and hopefully have time to watch the movie. Maybe not during this vlog, because I want to spend every second I have reading, but if not, I'll watch it tomorrow. Also, I went to Trader Joe's for groceries. I don't know, I shouldn't be holding this up, but I got a candle at Trader Joe's. This one is the vanilla pumpkin scented candle. They usually have really decently smelling candles. Yeah, this is the Trader Joe's brand, but that candle smells so good. I have it burning right now because it's fall. And okay, I'm gonna go read, but that was my review on Time as a Mother. Okay, it is nearly midnight. It's 11:47 p.m. and I have just like read past the point of consciousness. I just feel like I have no idea what time it is, and I've lost track of everything that's happened throughout the day. And I knew going into this challenge that I would be reading beyond my limit, and this is just like way beyond my limit, but I pushed myself to finish Vampire Academy by Richelle Mead. So I finished this today. It was actually so good. Like, I can't believe I'm saying that, but like I kind of want to read the rest of the series. And I'm that kind of person who, I missed out on a lot of the old like YA books, like the ones that came out in like 2015 or whatever. So like Divergent, The Hunger Games. I wasn't really a big reader then, so I really missed out on the huge like YA blockbusters like The Maze Runner and all of that. So I only watched Vampire Academy the movie because it was just popular and it sounded really cool, and I didn't really like the movie. It was kind of weird, but I knew that it was based on the book series. But after reading this, I'm actually surprised by how good it is. Like that's me, like totally. I'm like kind of over young adult books, so you know, going back to those old YA books, you always like want to like shit on them. You're like, oh yeah, they're like YA has evolved so much from these novels. So reading this, I was kind of expecting me to like hate read it, to be like really poor writing, and for it to just be something that was like entertaining. But this is actually really good. Like, it is suspiciously good. The writing is really good. I really liked it. It's super humorous too, and there's so much like wit and banter from the characters. I love Rose so much. She's like one of my favorite characters, like female heroines. But anyway, now I'll watch the movie, but I think I need to sleep because like I said, I've been getting really bad sleep these past few days, and I feel like it's affecting my like physical body. I feel like kind of like not ill, but like I feel like body aches, and feel like very weak and lightheaded. So, and I think that's a result of like not getting enough sleep. But anyway, I am really happy that I chose to read this book because it was so good. I feel like I'm gonna stop reading for the rest of the night. I'm gonna watch Vampire Academy. I actually am gonna watch it. But I'm gonna wake up tomorrow morning super early and get back on the reading grind again because we only got 24 hours to read as much as we can. Right now I have finished 3 books, which is like literally cannot comprehend. It takes me usually, sometimes I read 3 books in a month. Like 3 books in less than a day is super crazy. But tomorrow I think I'll wake up super early, like at the crack of dawn, and pick a new book to read, and we'll see where I go from there. This is all just, I feel like I'm in a fever dream. Like I don't even know what's happening. I don't know what time it is. I've lost track of all sense of time and space, and I just feel like I am floating through. I think this is why this challenge so many times is like, it really is just like you're in a vacuum and you're just like trying to read as much as you can, and you're not even like processing what you're reading. You're just like reading and flipping pages, and you sort of get tired of it. I low-key just like am a little bit tired of it, which is why I'm gonna switch to watching some stuff before I go to bed. I was anticipating like staying up all night to read, but I just don't think that's like the best idea for my body right now, and I think it'll be a better idea to get some rest and then wake up tomorrow morning super early and read again. So I will see you in the morning. Hello everyone. Okay, so it is 1:57 on Thursday, September 29th, which means it is officially the end of the 24-hour reading challenge, and I am so done. So like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I am so not used to reading for more than 2 to 3 hours a day. It just, my brain can't take it. I'm a very impatient person, so I don't like sitting in one place for too long and not being able to like do anything. I sort of feel like unproductive, and usually when I read, it's during my break times, during work, when I'm resting my eyes from the computer, or even before I go to bed. But for this time, I totally evaded all of my work tasks, all of my life errands and goals in order to read these 5 books that I read in 24 hours. So remember from my intro, I showed you the 3 books that I wanted to read. Yeah, I didn't really get to that 3rd one that I wanted to read, but I actually spontaneously surprised myself by reading faster than I have ever read in my entire life. Like I said, I'm a pretty average speed reader in terms of speed. I am not a slow reader, but I'm also just not like a fast reader. I don't think so. I don't know really what I'm comparing this to. I just feel like in myself I'm not a fast reader, but I think for this video specifically, it kind of pushed me to read a little faster than I do. So usually I like to take the time and I like to annotate and I like to post it, but I just didn't do that for this video and for this reading like these 24 hours. So I'm just gonna go over what I read and what I thought about them very quickly. Okay, so the first book I started off with was For Aunties and a Wedding by Jessie Q. Sutanto. I'm actually so happy that I chose this as my first one. I don't think I would have been able to read 5 books in 24 hours had I not started with this one. This was just so comical, so out of this world, and very out there, and kind of what I needed in order to, as like a preface to this challenge, that it was kind of just a silly challenge. And because this book was so far-fetched and like outrageous, I was kind of looking or craving something that was going to ground me more, because I felt like I was in this like silly world. So this is the first book that I completed, and it took me about like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to finish this book. The next book I picked up is Time is a Mother by Vuong. I am so happy I read this second as well. It was a fast and easy read. And this one I actually did end up post-itting and annotating a little bit just because it was a book of poetry, and with Vuong I like to kind of like highlight a lot of quotes and stuff that I want to keep for like myself in the future. And I don't put too much stress with poetry books when I'm reading them, just because I know that poetry books, collections or short stories are books that I actually will reread. I don't tend to reread books, but when it comes to poetry I do tend to pick them up again, so I don't like stress myself out about not reading the poetry super like closely the first time around. And spontaneously I went for Vampire Academy by Richelle Mead, which I was super, like, I surprised myself in picking this up and I absolutely loved it. I think I'm gonna go out and buy the entire Bloodline series and the Vampire Academy series because I just love her writing. It's also so entertaining, and I watched the entirety of Vampire Academy yesterday, so you could say that I am addicted. This morning, after waking up with like a fresh mindset and mind space and just kind of wanting to read something, like perusing my bookshelves, I picked up Tokyo Dreaming by Emiko, which is the sequel to Tokyo Ever After, a Princess Diaries Japanese inspired book about a girl who in her senior year of high school finds out that she's the princess. I think it's the princess of Japan, which is super cool. Really great premise. Loved the first book. Have heard mixed things about the second one, so I honestly put off reading this. This one came out in May, but I have put off reading this. But guys, this book is better than the first one. Like, don't let anybody tell you anything different. Don't let anyone just like make you think, and don't let anyone help you make assumptions or judgments on books before you've assessed the book yourself. Like, that is just the one thing that I've learned, is just like, don't let other people control like what you read. So I'm really glad I read this book because this was also a super fast read. I read this in 2 hours, like 2 hours, and this isn't short. This is like, there was like 350 pages here, so super good. I really enjoyed it, and I like the exploration of the of just the culture, more Japanese culture, and like imperial, like royalty, all that good stuff. So I enjoyed this. And then I had an hour to spare and I'm like, should I read another book? Should I? And I did, and I picked up Stone's Poems by Kevin Young. It's a collection of poetry from an author named Kevin Young, and I'm sad I wasn't able to dedicate more time to this because I felt like if I had read it a lot slower, I think I would have understood it a lot more, but frankly I was just very confused. Really beautiful imagery though, really beautiful writing, but I think I'm probably going to go into this after I film this video again, do some annotations, maybe pick out some quotes and read this, give this a little bit of a more thorough read. But through my once over, it was really nice. There's a lot of great imagery, a lot of great repetition, and obviously I don't know that much about poetry to be talking about poetry, but I do sort of enjoy reading it. It's a really nice switch up, especially if you're reading 24 hours straight of books. You definitely want books that, you know, range in different genres and different categories. So yeah, that was my 24-hour reading challenge. I really enjoyed this challenge. Not gonna lie, I was like kind of hesitant to do this and very scared just because like I said, I'm someone who just can't read straight through, and I didn't want to sacrifice my sleep for this video because I have been having a rough time. But I woke up this morning feeling super refreshed, super well, you know, very well slept, I don't know if that's a word, and very revived to read more books. And I think that's what kind of put me in a good mood to read 2 more books this morning in like a span of 4 to 5 hours. So yeah, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please let me know in the description. Put down your links to your 24-hour reading challenges, because I actually have been obsessed with watching 24-hour reading challenge videos on BookTube. It's just something that I've been really drawn to, which is probably the only reason I wanted to film this myself, was to see if I could do it. But yeah, that's the end of today's video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.